Hi everyone, Mel Gabby here, and welcome to the 7-day reset, renew, reignite, reestablish, all the R's. Um, Day 3 is about regulating the nervous system. So it's only in the last decade, really, and a lot of the information that's come through trauma work that we've started to understand that our busy, hectic, or difficult, challenging lifestyles also have an impact on the whole of our nervous system. So this is really sort of basic way of thinking about how do you start to regulate your own, what can help. And I'll share some of what I do that has helped me in particular since my car accident in 2019, because I definitely had PTSD after that accident. And so I could easily be triggered, noise used to throw me. And sitting in the taxi used to feel like I was on the fun fair, and it wasn't an enjoyable time. So it's really important to think about how do we think about the nervous system. Okay, so get yourself comfortable, get your pen out, and hopefully you're giving yourself this time to think about these questions that I cover in this series. Okay, so the theme is exhaustion is information. Um, I kind of knew that years ago when I was running myself ragged, but I used to get a kick out of a lot of the projects I was developing. I developed projects that go into schools. I ran a team. I felt efficient, productive, involved, important, had credibility, but I was running myself ragged every day, coming home, looking after the kids, cooking, cleaning, all of that malarkey. So it's also about how sometimes we're over motivated, overstimulated, too much TV, too much scrolling, too much out and about working. And other times we're flatlining, we don't do that much. We sit on the sofa and we need to go for a walk. I should be going swimming. I should be stretching. So we can be in this dysregulated state that underneath our nervous system is just not balanced, I guess. It's not very technical language, but that's basically what it is. We're not balanced. We're not getting the right rest and sleep, like the Mars advert, work, rest, and play. So when the nervous system is dysregulated through stress and overstimulation, too much TV, too much scrolling, too much YouTube, too many kids shouting, not enough sleep, they don't go to bed early, too much stress from partners, where are you, what are you doing, jealous partners, toxic relationships, overstimulated, or unresolved grief, situations that happened over the last few years that you're also trying to process, or even relational tension. You're okay on your own and then your partner comes back and you're feeling on edge, or you're not getting on about things more recently. So the body conserves energy. The body needs to keep all the vital organs active. It needs to process the sugar in our body, the carbohydrates, the food. It needs to turn that into energy. It needs to take the nutrients out of it. And when we start to flag, when we start to feel slower and tireder, we can get brain fog and feel like we're procrastinating, but we don't realize we're exhausted, emotional numbness, or even chronic fatigue. And as we're heading in that direction, if you can put things in place to rest more, to get massage, to go for some healing, to do some gentle stretching. Some people I've worked with go on a holiday for a week and they need a month off. I can see it in them. So not everybody has the ability to do that. And if you got some savings and you can take a long break, and part of that is doing nothing, lying on the beach or by the pool, it can save you in the long run in terms of if you get burnout or chronic fatigue, because you might end up or have ended up taking months off. So this isn't about laziness. It's about protection. It's about how the organism protects itself from all of these things that it's battling with. Its internal processes and living in these environments with pollution and the stuff in our food and the demands of life. So research shows us into polyvagal theory that safety precedes creativity. So you cannot build a new life from a dysregulated body. You can start, now, as I did after my car accident. But all I was doing was learning how to roll off the sofa onto the floor to do some stretching so that I could go out to the shop and carry some shopping because I had shoulder injuries and everything. Um, and I wasn't really building a new life. I was trying to live the one I was in, and it was very difficult. But eventually, when you put these actions in place, small ones every day, you'll start to notice over time. But you're not necessarily going to see it, or you might have some peak experiences of it. You might get a taste of what is possible. So, existentially, which is what it means to be human, basically, safety is the foundation of freedom. And I know that when I got my camper van, I was really nervous actually. It was a big chunk of money that I was handing over. 2 is I'd never drove a van. 3 is I didn't know most of the roads in Cornwall and Devon, and I know they're steep. And I was really nervous about doing long trips and staying in the van and being safe as a woman. So my nervous system that's always been on in a way, switched on because I come from a family where there was sort of disruption and difficulties. So I always had a sort of overactive nervous system, can easily then be triggered. But as I learnt new tools and techniques, I could talk to myself while I was driving. You're okay, Mel. You'll be fine. If you do break down, you got breakdown cover. I started to use a narrative that helped me to cope with the massive anxiety that I felt. On my Scottish trip, I was telling my friend the other day, I didn't know. I got to as far as Carlisle because the van kept breaking down. And I didn't know if I was going to get up to Glasgow. And if I got up to Glasgow from Carlisle, which is literally like driving like that uphill, I didn't know. I'd never drove there. And I got to Gourock, I was then going to be able to get to the ferry. So I'm driving up to Glasgow and the mountains are there and the sun is shining and then it rains and then it shines and the road keeps going up like that. And I'm like, oh my God, is my van going to manage this? It's 3 tons. It's full of petrol. It's got my clothes, 2 months worth of clothes in there. And I'm going up this hill and I'm driving and driving. I'm like, please don't rain, because that's when it got into trouble. And I'm getting towards Glasgow and it opens out and I can see the city. So I'm partly stressed and anxious and I've got this stress flooding through my body, but excitement of, oh my God, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll make it. And that's what the Scottish trip was like for me. But as I got closer to the actual destination I was hoping to get to, I turned around the corner from Gourock, started to drive towards Wimms Bay, which is where you get the ferry over to Rossi, and I saw the ferry. And the panic and anxiety went whoosh. And I could feel now in the past as a kid, I used to get zoned out. I would not be able to think, I couldn't make a decision, and I'd be all over the place. But with the practices I've been trying, I still get that anxiety because it was a new experience. I drove to Glasgow, Scotland. I was driving in the van. It was pouring down. That would test most people. That would create some anxiety and concerns anyway. So I got to the ferry and I'm driving and I could feel this coursing through my body and I'm like, maybe I'll get there. I'm really excited. And I go up to the man at the ticket desk and I said, what do you do? How do you do it? And he said, oh, here's the ticket. This is how much it is. And I was like, I'm really nervous. I mean, I must have looked slightly crazy. And he's like, it's all right, love. Here's your ticket. Just go and drive over there and then go and have a drink. So I drove onto the ferry and I was partly exuberant and partly incredibly anxious and panicking because now I'm on the ferry and my brain goes, what if it stops working? What if we drown? What happens? Honestly, crazy stuff comes through my head sometimes. And I've been in the field of mental health and well-being for a while. So new experiences, new transitions, stress, resilience building, weather conditions, all these things outside of my control. So I got on the ferry and we went over the sea towards Rossi. And it was beautiful. Started to see the mountains, and now my brain's getting flooded with, my goodness, I'm getting there. Oh, I'm gonna arrive there. Oh my God. So I got off the ferry, and I'm like, right, I'm gonna have a little bit of a recce, and drive around and explore it. And then in my video that I've got on YouTube at the moment, that will be on here soon, I talk about that in more detail, about what happened, who I met, how I connected with people who knew my family, and then on. But what I'm sharing with you at the moment is I was using my tools to cope with the driving. So breath work. The moment we start applying some breathwork techniques, the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and it starts to lower the cortisol. So if you're feeling agitated, stress, or something's overwhelming or you're overstimulated, it's crucial as part of your first aid kit to start doing some deep breaths so that you can lower that cortisol so you can start to get rebalanced. Okay. So you want to do 4 to 6 inhales. You can do box breathing, or you can just inhale for 4, exhale for 6, and repeat that for 5 minutes. So I'll do 4 with you, okay? So make sure you put your pen down, you've got your headphones on, and just focus on taking in some air and notice if it's in your chest or if your belly, because you want your belly to rise. So you want, or you can do it for your nose. And the third one, and the fourth one. So you want to carry that on and try and do 6. But the moment you get to about 4, you should be feeling calmer. You should be noticing whether your chest feels tight or your stomach can raise, your mind, your body expands, you feel your energy expand. The more you practice that, the more you are switching your nervous system from stress response to calm response. So, and lowering that cortisol. And as we get older, the cortisol is linked with our system and whether or not we're pre-diabetes and what's going on in the body and where we hold fat. So it's all interconnected. Okay. So you do the breathing, try and do that breathing every day. We're stacking up on the yoga move. We get 1 yoga move a day. We get 1 tip and trick and tool to do every day. We stack them up and we start to use them in our days. Okay. So the tarot with this is the High Priestess. Oh, the yoga pose is legs up the wall. A lot of people really enjoy this. So you basically find a wall that you can lean against. So you lie on the floor and you put your bum against the wall and you put your legs up the wall and you just sit there and breathe deeply for maybe a minute or 2 minutes and just experience that very relaxing, poignant, deep, and sometimes powerful exercises. So the tarot with this is the High Priestess. High Priestess is often about going inward and starting to connect with your own spiritual self, your own techniques, your own just your own sense of self. Let me find the cards. I've pulled this card so many times and sometimes I just go and do a blank. So I don't know what number the High Priestess is in here. So it can't be there because we're on the world, which is the last card. Okay, so bear with me. Just do some deep breathing. Notice if you hold your breath or you stopped breathing deeply as I got distracted with trying to find the card. Oh, is it right at the beginning? It is as well, went right past it. So the High Priestess is dreams, powerful visions, psychic insights, serendipity, meditation, introspection, intuition, and spiritual experience. So we can tap into the energy of the High Priestess. Helps you if you're on the edge of the realm, if you're in overwhelm, it's hard to connect with yourself. So sacred insights and profound wisdom flow to you when you connect with the High Priestess. And they don't flow to you, and creativity is harder when your nervous system is activated. So the more relaxed you get, the more time you rest, which I've been purposely, intentionally doing a lot more since the beginning of this year. I noticed that I can just ease myself into creativity without saying I must do this and I must do that. It kind of naturally occurs. If you are using the shadows side of the High Priestess, it's about gossip, mistrust, hidden agenda, fear of intuitive abilities, not paying attention to that inner voice. So the High Priestess is about us connecting with that. So you can look online and see what the card looks like. You can get your own tarot. I'm using the Light Seers. And the crystal that goes with that is the amethyst. It's about calming energy. And the journal prompts, so get your journal out and you can stop the recording to listen to each journal prompts if you like, because I then end with a book, is where do you feel most regulated? Where do you feel most calm? Where do you feel most at peace? What environments drain you? Who drains you? Where are you when you start to feel drained? And the easiest way to start to notice this is if you've had a really peaceful day and you feel really good, and you meet someone or you go out and start doing something, you might be tired because you've done a bit more walking that day, or you went swimming, or you were with a friend who you just feel like is sucking the life force out of you. So ask yourself those questions, okay? And what's one daily practice would help your nervous system feel safe? So we did the deep breathing. That can really help if you do that a few times a day. Saying a mantra like, I'm safe, I am grounded, I am safe, I am grounded. Imagine pulling your energy into your body. I'm safe and grounded, and pulling that energy in. And as you breathe out, you can say, I breathe out stress and worries and concerns. I breathe in, excuse me, I am safe and grounded. The book to go with this is The Body Keeps Score by Bessel van der Kolk. Hope you like this video and let me know. See you next time.